Was decoratie zit er lief op eigenlijk.
Ala?
Ja. Can do.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our GCD, our monthly GCD. For those of you who don't know, our GCD stands for Game Changer Discussions. So this is where we get together on a monthly basis, usually in person. So this is the first full webinar that we're doing. So we're doing new technology, and this lockdown is teaching us how to do some new things. So always positives. So what we do is we get together once a month and we discuss some issues, some tips, tricks, things that you can do to improve your financial situation. So those of you who are on, please just tell Zander, who's my technical assistant for the day, please just tell him on the YouTube channel that you can hear me properly. So if somebody can just say yes, or I can hear you, so that we can just make sure. Zander, please just tell me if anybody says. Okay, so I'm going to continue. If you can't hear or there is any issues, you're welcome to comment or WhatsApp me. Zander is handling my phone. So what we're going to talk to you about tonight is how to survive COVID-19 during this lockdown financially. Okay, so we got a thumbs up. We say we can hear. How to survive this lockdown, this COVID-19 lockdown financially. I'm going to share some tips and some tricks and some ideas that I've got. And then what do we do afterwards? How do we make this a positive so that we thrive financially for the rest of the year and going through 2020? Because we started this year with a bang. I think all of us had very big ideas and things that we were planning for the year. And suddenly this thing came from left field. And what do we do? And looking at what we've been doing the last 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks now, of being in lockdown, I got all excited this evening to get dressed. So I even put on aftershave and cologne and everything. It's like I'm going out somewhere. So I think we all get excited for small little things now that we can't go wherever we want. So for those of you that don't know me, some of you might have heard me on radio. I've been on Mix FM for a couple of years. Some of you should have seen me on TV. I've been on CNBC Africa a few times. Or some of you I've been helping personally, and then some of you have never heard of me. My name is Lawrence Oberholzer. I've been in the financial services industry since 1999. Started as a typical financial advisor, but for the last 18 years, I've been running my own company, Retire Rich and Happy, and we've been focused on helping people to thrive financially and coaching people and teaching them how to win at the game of money. Because we come from an education system that teaches us how to become good employees and earn an income. But it teaches us what to do with that income once we've earned it. So what we've been trying to do is to teach people these rules so that you can actually win at this game of money. So let's get started. I'm not going to take too long, and let's get started. So when I start, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do while we are in this lockdown. How do we improve our financial situation? And then from there, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going to happen afterwards. So after this first session, if you have any questions, please type it out. Zander will give it to me. I'll have an opportunity to answer questions between the two sections. And then if you have any suggestions, so I've brought a few suggestions with me on how you can save money, how you can manage your money better. But if you have some suggestions to share with the group, please put it on. We will read it out and we will discuss it on air. So let's get started. So the first thing you need to understand with this whole situation with the lockdown, everything starts with managing your cash flow. You need to take control of the money that you have and try and manage that the best you can. So how do you improve your cash flow? You improve your cash flow through two ways. The first one is to decrease your expenses. And that's going to be the first part. We're going to talk a little bit about how do we decrease your expenses over this period. And the second way is to increase your revenue, to get more money coming into your portfolio. So how do we do that? So those are the two things that I'm going to focus on. So the first one is how do we decrease your expenses? Now, before we start cutting expenses, we first have to have a proper budget. You have to be in charge of your cash flow. Now, we've done some research and about 70% of people have no budget. That means that money comes in, debit orders go off, they spend and they hope there's some money left at the end of the month. There's about 25 to 27% of people who have a basic budget, which means that they write down their major expenses and then whatever's the unforeseen expenses they don't plan for. And then about 3% of people have a proper in-depth budget that just not only focuses on the known expenses, but also focuses on emergency and unknown expenses. And not funnily enough, it's not really a surprise that 3% of people have more financial security than the other 97% combined. So you have to start with a proper budget. So we've created a tool. It's called the Strategic Expense Planning Tool. We say it's our budget on steroids. And what it does is it helps you to look at your expenses and really focus on where your money is going. Because all of us, again, another research we've done, the typical South African middle class to upper middle class family overspends by at least 10% on their budget every month. What that means to you is if your budget is 40,000 Rand a month, there's 4,000 Rand a month that you are spending or that's going somewhere that you can't account for. That's just gone. So if you can go and plug those holes so that 4,000 Rand stays in your account instead of going to unforeseen expenses, you can improve your cash flow dramatically or automatically. So the first thing, we need to do a proper budget. When you do a budget, you need to understand the difference between what is your living expenses and what is your lifestyle expenses. So your living expenses are the expenses that you incur to survive. All of us needs a place to stay. So your rent, your bond payment, those are living expenses. All of us needs food to eat. So that is living expenses. But we all don't need a cell phone. A cell phone is a lifestyle expense. So a living expense is the things that you pay for you to survive, you and your family. A lifestyle expense is something that makes your life more comfortable. So you need to understand when you go through your expenses, what is my living expenses and what is my lifestyle expenses, and start becoming more and more strict on what you spend your money on your lifestyle expenses side. The second thing is most people look at a budget and they think a budget is a predictor of what's going to happen in the future. So they look at that and they say, so I'm going to have this much money coming into my account. This is what I'm going to spend my money on. And this is roughly what I will have left at the end of this month. Then they go through the month, and in the end of the month, they have nothing left, or they had to go into their credit card and they go, oh goodness, that was a tough month. But next month, this is what I'm going to do. So what we teach people is that budgeting is 80% looking backwards and only 20% looking forward. So you first have to look at where did your money go before you can plan where it's going next. So when you start doing your budget during this period, sit down, go through the last 2 to 3 months worth of bank statements. If you're using our strategic expense planning tool, you physically put in every single transaction that went through your account and look at what you've done with your money over the last month or two before you start planning where your money is going from here on forward. So let's look at decreasing expenses. The first one is, for those of you who haven't heard, the banks have cut the interest rates, or the Reserve Bank have cut the repo rate with another 1%. So that's now 2% cut in the interest rates over the last 2 months, which is very good news for people's cash flow. To give you an idea, and that's with all the debt that you have. So that will have an impact on your car repayments. It will have an impact on your bond repayments, etc., etc. So that will definitely give you a better cash flow situation automatically. So just to give you an idea, on a R1 million bond, that should give you an extra 650 Rand a month. So your bond repayment should be 650 Rand a month less on a R1 million bond for 1% reduction. For the 2% that you've had over the last month and a half, it will bring your bond repayment down to about down with about 1,300 Rand. So you would save, for every R1 million you have on a bond, you would save about 1,300 Rand. So the question is, what are you going to do with that money? The second thing is your car payments should come down, credit card payments should come down. So really go and have a look at what that's going to mean in your cash flow situation. Secondly, the banks have come up with some debt support where you can contact your bank. And I want to urge you, if you are really in financial distress, talk to your bank. Don't go quiet. Don't not pay and just keep quiet because we are ashamed, we are afraid, we don't know what's going to happen. talk to your bank. They do want to help, but also be very careful in just going and taking this bond holiday, if you want to call it that, and not pay your bond even if you're getting your full salary. Because remember, although you won't have to pay your bond, you will still pay interest on that debt. So that's going to be your last option to say to the banks, I'm not going to pay my bond this month. First, look at all your different options before you just go for that. Don't think that that's just going to give you a little bit more cash flow and you'll be able to spend it on a holiday after the lockdown or something like that. Because in the long run, you're still going to pay interest on that bond repayment. But if you get into a cash flow crunch and you have to take out a personal loan or you have to put extra money on your credit card because you can't pay your expenses, then rather speak to the bank and get that bond payment holiday or the car payment holiday, etc., etc. Because the interest rate on your bond will be much less than taking it on a personal loan or taking it on your credit card. So that's going to be your last option to go and take out a personal loan or your credit card. Next, your short-term insurance. So for those of you who don't know what short-term insurance is your car and household insurance. So that's the insurance on your car, on your household goods, the insurance on your laptop, your cell phone, all of those kind of things. So during this period that we are at home, there's quite a few things that you can do on your short-term insurance to limit your expenses on your short-term insurance. And I'll run through a few of these. The first one is you can cancel your all-risk cover if you choose to. So what is all-risk cover? All-risk cover is the cover that you have on your items that you will take with you outside your house. The most well-known one will probably be your cell phone. But it could be your laptop. It could be a projector that you would use for work. It could be your wedding ring. It could be any of those types of items that you have on insurance. Well, currently you are sitting at home. You're not going anywhere. So you could take that all-risk cover off your short-term insurance for this period because you won't take it outside your house. What you could consider is to increase your household goods a little bit to cover for those expenses if they break in. But if you're not taking it out with you, you can take that off your short-term insurance. The second one is if your car is standing in the garage most of the time and you're not going to drive with it at all, especially with families with two vehicles where mom and dad's car is at home, and you just, when you do go to the shop for the groceries or whatever, you have to take dad's car, mom's car is just staying in the garage. You can take that car off the insurance and only insure it for third-party fire and theft or limited cover, which means it's not comprehensively covered. So if you do get into an accident, you won't have cover, but the car is standing in the garage. So third-party fire and theft, so if they do steal the car, you'll still be covered. And if you drive into somebody else, that person's damage would be covered, but you're not going to drive with it in any case. That could dramatically decrease what you pay on your insurance on a monthly basis. Also, at this point, you can remove the boats, the caravans, the motorcycles, the trailers, all of those kind of things that you have on your short-term insurance that you're not using at the moment. It's sitting in the back of the yard. You're not going somewhere. You're not going out to holidays with it. So take it off your insurance. Just very, very important, guys. If you do take it off, once this lockdown ends, once we start getting back to normal, go and look at putting it back onto your insurance. Also, just reassess it in general as well and see how many of these things you still need to put on insurance and whatnot. But always look at putting it back on insurance once life goes back to normal. So that is your short-term insurance. So let's look at the next one. Premium holidays on your investments and on your life cover, your long-term insurance. So let me just explain. Short-term insurance is car, household. Long-term insurance is your life cover, your disability cover, dread disease cover, those kind of things. So let's first look at your investments, your retirement annuities, endowments, those kind of things. So what the insurance companies have done is you can apply for a premium holiday on these investments of yours for up to 6 months. What that means is you would not have to pay premiums. The policies will stay in place. You will not lose the money that you've put in, whether it's a retirement annuity or an endowment. You will not lose the money that you've put in. All that happens is the premium ceases In 6 months' time, you start paying your premiums again, and the policy just continues. So for some people, that could mean quite a big cash flow injection that they don't have to pay. Secondly, your long-term insurance, your life cover, those kind of things. What's very important with that is do not just cancel your life cover or your disability or your dread disease cover. That's your last option. You always start at the top, which is your investments. You can always stop the investments. With the risk cover, you can ask for a premium holiday or a reduction as well for a 6-month period. It depends from insurance company to insurance company. If you guys want help with that or you need advice, you're welcome to contact my office or just send an email to info@retirehappy.co.za and one of my people will be glad to assist you. But you can ask for a premium holiday on that risk cover. Very important. If you do ask for a premium holiday on that risk cover, chances are for the period that you're not paying premiums, you will not enjoy the cover. So if something goes wrong in that 3 months or 6 months, you will not have to be covered. Only after the period when you reinstate that policy without underwriting will you have cover again. So be very careful to just cancel or reduce the premiums on your risk cover. That's always your last option. This is also a good time for you to really have a look at your risk. What I always tell people is there's primary risk areas and there's secondary risk areas. Focus to make sure that you are covered on your primary risk areas. Those are the catastrophic events that if that happens, it could financially ruin you and your family. The secondary risk areas are the nice to haves. And I'll give you an example. Primary risk areas are things like life cover. If you pass away tomorrow and there is no life cover to pay and look after your family, that is a catastrophic event. Your family will not recover from that. Capital disability, income disability, and then your severe illness. If you get a cancer, a stroke, a heart attack, any of those kind of things, those are catastrophic events. So look at making sure that those areas are covered and covered sufficiently. Secondary risk areas are things like cancer cover specifically, accidental death and disability cover, things like I wrote down here, credit life, all of those kind of things. Have a look at those and look at which of those you actually need and don't need, because those are all nice to have. You've got things like educator benefits and things like that. That's nice to have. You need to make sure that your foundation is solid by looking at your primary risk areas. Again, we have risk specialists that can help you, that can do a risk assessment for you. Make sure that what you have is actually doing what you need. So you're welcome to email us info@retirehappy.co.za and one of our people will be in contact with you to make sure that your risk is sorted out adequately. Secondly, let's look at some household savings. So what can you do in your house to save some money? Now, guys, I'm not saying these are the only ways to save money. I've sat down and I looked at a few options. I said, okay, what can we do to help people save some money in this time? But you guys can give us some suggestions, things that you've been doing or things that you've thought about that could help the other people on the GCD as well. So the first one is saving some water. So one of the things that you can do is instead of taking a bath, take a shower. Because it's been proven that a shower takes much less water than taking a bath. But if you do want to take a bath, share the bath water between the family. So have the kids all bath in the same water, or mom and dad bath in the same water. Also, you can use your drain water to water your garden instead of using tap water. So have a pipe that goes from your drain and then just let that go onto your grass. So there's ways of saving some expenses or costs on water. Secondly, electricity. One of the big things that my dad always told me, he was an electrician, he said, anything that creates heat or takes heat away takes a lot of electricity. So your geyser, your stove, your washing machine, your dishwasher, anything that has to heat up the water takes a lot of electricity. So if you can wash your washing with cold water, not if you can, I'm doing it. You can wash your washing with cold water. You do that because it doesn't have to take hot water to wash your washing. Secondly, when you cook, instead of making food every single day, cook in bulk. So take today, let's say for example, it's a Monday, and cook for the week, and take all of that and put that in the freezer. Because once the stove is heated, the heat is already there. It doesn't have to heat all the way from cold. So if you use that one time to do all the cooking, you won't use as much electricity as if you reheat every single time. Let me just see what else I've written down here. Another thing you can do is to turn your geyser off during the day so that it's only on in the mornings and in the evenings. One of the biggest killers of electricity and users of electricity is our geyser. Because every single time you open the tap, hot water comes out, the geyser starts again to heat whatever's left in the geyser up with the cold water. So if you can switch your geyser off during the day, you will save a hell of a lot on your electricity bill. Then let's have a look at food. Plan your weekly menu. This is something I learned when I was very young, when I was a rep, when I was driving around. We did field trips. So we had 5 people in a car, and we would drive to Moerlandspan, and we would be there for a week. And one of the things we did, we had a small budget to eat. Everybody had to eat on that budget. So what we usually did is we got to our destination, and we sat and we created a menu for the week. And once we had the menu, we knew exactly what to buy. So we don't buy too much, and we just buy what's on that menu. So do that for your family. Create your menu for the week and go and buy the ingredients to make that. And then make all of that in once and put it into your fridge for ready meals. Don't buy these ready meals from the supermarkets, because they're very expensive for what you get. Rather buy the ingredients and make your own ready meals. Put them in containers and put them in the fridge. You're going to save on takeaways. This is something, as we coach people and I sit with them and I go through their budget, people do not understand how much money they are spending on takeaways. If I ask a person in general, so how much do you think you're spending on takeaways? Most people's response is, we almost never eat takeaways, probably like 500 Rand a month. And then we do their strategic expense planning, and suddenly that jumps to 2,000, 2,500 Rand a month. Because people go Fridays, they go and they spend 500 Rand at Steers or McDonald's or wherever. So you're going to save that money. Also, instead of buying cereal, because we tend, us with kids, we just buy cereal and milk and it's easy for the kids. Instead of buying cereal, buy oats, buy multivella pop, buy any of those porridges that you can make yourself, because that's much cheaper than going and buying a box of cereal. Other expenses that you can cut, you can limit your household cleaning products. Instead of buying a cleaning product for every specific thing, buy general cleaning products so that you can buy less and use it for various purposes. Also, when you go through your bank account, look at your subscriptions. I see so many people with subscriptions to Netflix and Showmax, and they have a subscription. I know this time Netflix and Showmax is like, it's like life. It's like the lifeblood of keeping us sane. But they've got iTunes. They've got 2 subscriptions to iTunes, and what is these other Jukes? And what is the other music? YouTube Music. So they have like 3 or 4 subscriptions to music sites. My question is why? Why are you paying 3 places to get music that you can get at once? But we forget. We see something, we subscribe, and then because it's only $100, 99 Rand, 59 Rand, whatever the case may be, we forget about those subscriptions. This is a very good time to sit, go through your bank account, look at your debit orders, see what is actually going off your account, and ask yourself the question, firstly, do I still need the subscription during this lockdown period? And secondly, do I actually need it afterwards, or can I live without it? Also, look at your bank charges. If you look at, and I talk out of personal experience, you go to a bank, I'm with FNB, so your FNB private clients, it's costing you almost 600 Rand a month. For what? So while we're in lockdown, why are you a private client? Why not just go down to a normal check account or be a, I don't even know, silver client or gold client or whatever they have. But downgrade your banking and see if you can save on your banking costs. It's amazing if you have 2 or 3 accounts, what your bank charges cost you every month. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for a second and take a sip of water and giving you a chance. If you have any suggestions or any questions, you're welcome to ask those questions. And then we're going to talk a little bit about increasing revenue. Okay, so are there anybody with questions?
Okay.
No? Okay, guys. Then, so we've looked at decreasing expenses and be creative. There's so many things that you can do to decrease your expenses. Look at the first thing is, and this is very important, you have to become aware of where your money is going. 80% is just awareness. You will see once you start doing a proper budget, you will see that you're going to start making different decisions just because you are aware of where your money is going. It's because we're not aware. I get so many people that say to me, yeah, but I don't have the discipline. How am I ever going to have the discipline to actually not overspend? And my answer to them is always the same. I say, most of the time, it's not a discipline issue. It's a strategy issue and a planning issue. You don't have a plan with your money. Therefore, every day you have to make a decision on a disciplined decision on what you spend your money on. When you have a plan, when you have a strategy, you know exactly what your plan is. So it's much easier to be disciplined. Okay, so let's look at increasing your revenue. So this is a little bit more difficult because of where we are and what we're doing. So again, I'm not saying this is what you need to go and do. I'm trying to give you guys ideas to make you think of what you could do. The first one is you could earn some money part-time online. I did a quick search today. I didn't have a lot of time, but I did a quick search today. And there's a lot of these websites where you can do online surveys. And through those surveys, you get paid for the surveys that you do. So that's something that you can do. Go and search for that. There's people, they talk about earning something like $10,000 a year doing online surveys, these kind of things. So how much money you're going to make, I can't tell you. But go and research these things. Are there ways that you can start making some money online? Are there ways that you can take this extra time that you have and get paid for doing something in this extra time? You can, and this is the question that I get, can you claim for your insurance during this time? Guys, if I've had 100 calls in the last 2 weeks from clients regarding this, I'm not exaggerating. So, and I know we are all panicking. So people phone and they say, is there something on my long-term insurance that I can claim from? Can I not claim from my income protection? I've got income protection on my policy. Why can't I claim? So the first thing I need to explain is, if you look at most risk policies, you've got life cover, you've got capital disability, you've got income protection, and you've got the illness. So if you look at those 4 different covers, life cover, if you pass away from coronavirus, you will be paid. So life cover automatically, but you first have to pass away. Secondly, capital disability. The chances that you're going to become capitally disabled or totally disabled because of this virus is very slim to none. So chances that you're going to that you will have a claim on capital disability will be very slim. Income disability, the fact that we are in lockdown, the fact that you cannot work and generate an income does not constitute a claim for income disability. Income disability covers your income if you cannot work for a period of time as a result of an accident or an illness. So if you get the virus and you cannot work for longer than your waiting period, usually it's 30 days, you will have a claim. But just because the government called a lockdown and you can't work, your employer is not paying you, that doesn't constitute a claim, unfortunately. And I'm going to put it into perspective. Let's say, for example, you could claim for that. How many people in South Africa have income protection? 1 million, 5 million, 10 million people have income protection. Imagine if all 5 million people who have income protection claim at exactly the same time. No insurance company will survive that. It's never going to happen. That's why there is no insurance cover for something like this, unfortunately, because no insurance company is going to create a risk product for an event that will have the massive amount of claims it will create, like with this lockdown. So if they created a insurance cover for a lockdown like this specifically, and this happened, they bankrupt, because everybody at the same point, at the same time, is going to claim, and no insurance company can survive that. So unfortunately, your income protection cannot cover you for that. Severe illness, COVID-19 or the coronavirus hasn't been declared a severe illness because it's got flu-like symptoms. So up to this point, it won't qualify you for a severe illness claim as well. So through your long-term insurance, unfortunately, you will not have a claim. The only place that you might have a claim is on retrenchment cover if you have that on your insurance cover. But again, that is only if you get permanently retrenched by your company during this time. If you have that cover in place, you could get your income, 75% of your income, if that's the maximum that you're insured for a period of 6 months. Okay, so that is, can you claim on your current insurance? What you could do is you could claim from UIF if you are losing income as a result of this. If you have been paying UIF, that's usually employed individuals. Unfortunately, most self-employed individuals do not pay UIF. So if you're an employed individual, you were earning 20,000 Rand a month, you're now only earning 12,000 Rand a month, you might have a UIF claim. Please be in contact with the guys at the UIF and see. If you're really not sure what to do, again, email us at info@retirehappy.co.za. One of our people will send you the right forms and give you some directions on that. Business owners. Yeah, it's a difficult time because we've been thrown into uncharted territory. What do we do? How do we survive in this period? What I think most people, and it's not an easy answer. I'm not going to sit here and say that's what you're going to do and you're going to survive this, because it's not as easy as that, because every business is different. Some businesses you can, some businesses you can't. I've seen some fantastically innovative ways that businesses have started to help clients generate more revenue. If you are a business owner, you need to look at your business and say, how can I create value for clients in such a way that I don't have to be physically present for the value to get to those clients? Can I create a webinar? Can I create a course for people? Can I write a book? What can I do to add value to my clients in such a way that I don't have to go out and be physically available there? And start thinking now already, because yes, this lockdown is something that's forced us to look at business differently. But don't think this is going to stop when the lockdown ends. This is a fantastic opportunity for us to think differently about our businesses. Because most of us, and this is something I wanted to chat about after the lockdown, but we can bring it in here. Most of us starts a business that is a transactional business. Transactional business is the business is built around what we can do. And that is not the right model for any business. You don't want to build your business around what you can do and what you can do only, because you're always limiting yourself. You only have so many hours a day. You can only help so many clients a day, which means you're limited to the amount of income that you can generate. So what you want to do is you want to now already take this time and start thinking about how can you move your business from a transactional business to a transformational business. So what is a transactional business? Transactional business is built around the question of what can I do? That is a transactional business. So a hairdresser cuts hair, a plumber plumbs, whatever you want to do. So we take what our skill is and we go and do that. And we then limit ourselves because we keep doing it. A transformational business is built around the question, what can I teach someone else to do? And you see the difference. if you can teach someone to do something and earn revenue or generate revenue through that, it's worth much more than just you doing it. So take this time and start thinking about where your business will be going in the rest of 2020. How are you going to move your business from a transactional to a transformational business? And it's not easy. I'm not sitting here telling you, Ahmed, you're just going to take the next couple of days, quickly bang out an operating procedure manual, and from May, you're going to have a transformational business. It's not that easy. Most of your business owners, I know you've got certain skills. You've got a special set of skills. You've got certain skills. You've got things that only you can do, and you feel nobody else can do as well as you can. The problem is, if you keep focusing on that and that alone, you're always going to be limited. You need to find those things that you can teach somebody else to do and find a way to teach them so that you can become a transformational business. Dale Carnegie once said, I'd rather earn 1% on the efforts of 100 people than earn 100% on my own efforts. And you need to start thinking about business that way. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go into the next session. So any questions?
No.
Am I so good that nobody's asking any questions?
enigste goed wat soos half gesê is, antwoord daarop ja.
Okay, so Yapi has done some answers. Okay, all right. Any questions on your side? Nothing. Okay, so let's go to the next part of our session. What is going to happen after lockdown? So we through this. Yes, have you got a question or a comment?
Warren het gesê, and do you need the subscription package that enables you to stream in 4 different countries in HD? Take the lowest streaming products and evaluate first.
Okay, yeah. So, for example, if you have Netflix and you can do the whole HD thing for I don't know how much, rather look at what do you actually need. With technology, I'm like that. I overspend, like internet connection. I want 100 megs per second. Although I can work with 20 megs per second, I want 100 megs per second. So be careful, especially our men. We like gadgets. So look at what you actually need, not what you want. Any questions?
Warren says, Warren says, just a heads up, the Time Bank is still giving effective interest rates of 10.2% on positive balances up to 100K. Okay, so thanks, Warren. So what Warren is saying is, if you do have money, you want to put it somewhere, Time Bank, THYME, if I remember correctly, they're giving 10.2% interest on deposits. So that's one thing that is going to happen. People with that's living off their savings, retired people, with the interest rates coming down, that's got a negative effect. So it's got a positive effect for us that's got debt. For the people who are living off interest, it's got a negative effect because their interest rates are also going to fall. Okay, so let's look at after lockdown. So what are we going to do after the lockdown ends? So first and foremost, I don't think the lockdown is just going to end like that on early May, and it's just going to go back to normal. I think for the rest of the year, we're going to have a version of this going forward. So we need to prepare for that. And one thing I have learned over this period is that we are so adaptable as human beings. I said to Coleman the other day, it's funny how quickly things become the new normal. 6 weeks ago, if you walk into a Pick n Pay and people were walking around with masks, you would think people are insane. Now it's normal. We just adapt. So we're going to have to adapt to the new normal because this is going to stay with us for a while. So after we finish this lockdown, we need to already be prepared that things won't go back to normal as we were. So what are we going to do? The first thing you need to do is you need to keep control of your cash flow. If you've taken the time, if you've taken the effort in this period to really know, I have a saying that I teach people in our seminars, which is give every rand a job. You need to know this rand is doing that. That is what it's going to do for me. If you are that strict during this lockdown period, don't stop once things go back to normal. Again, keep control of your cash flow. One of the things to help you with that is to get a coach.
we've got wealth strategists that help you and really support you in that, because they help to keep you accountable. It's always easy. I always say to people, there's this knowing doing gap. We get taught what to do, we know what to do, but we don't really do it until we are held accountable. So speak to us, speak to the person who sent you the link, find out who a wealth strategist is that can help you and keep you accountable. And another thing that I think you need to do is to reassess your risk spending. Re-look at what are you spending on risk money. Risk money being long-term insurance, life cover, disability, rare disease, income disability, medical aid, short-term insurance, all of those gap covers, all of those insurances. Because what you are spending on risk is what we call what-if money. It's money that you are paying a third party for in case something happens to you. It doesn't build up a cash value, it doesn't create anything unless one of those eventualities happen. Doesn't matter what the marketing gurus and the guys try and sell you from the insurance companies. That money is money that you're paying a third party for in case something happens. So once this lockdown ends, and even before, go and reassess what you are spending on risk and have a look at it. Don't look at what do you have and try and beat what you've got. Look at what do you need and put something in place that does that for you. And no more, no less. Spending money on risk is not going to create financial independence or financial freedom. You need to make sure that you spend only enough money on risk so that you are covered for any of those catastrophic events that happen. Then the whole purpose of this is to create a positive cash flow. That is always your goal. If you look at any business, what is the purpose of a business? The purpose of a business is to build a profit or to have a profit at the end of the month. That is going to be the exact same thing in your personal financial portfolio. The purpose of your monthly income is to have a positive cash flow at the end of the month, to have more income than you have expenses. Then what you do is you take that positive cash flow that you've created and you get rid of the unsecured debt. If you had to go into debt, some people are in worse situations than others. You might have to take out a loan. You might have to dip into your credit card over this period. Take that money and focus on getting rid of that unsecured debt first. Forget about investing. Forget about putting money in the retirement annuities and the endowments and all of these places until your unsecured debt is sorted out. What is unsecured debt? Unsecured debt is the debt that you have that is not secured by an asset. For example, your bond, the house is the security for the bond. So that is a secured debt. An unsecured debt is like your credit card. There's no underlying asset for that credit card of yours. An unsecured debt is your most expensive debt. So your focus needs to be to get rid of that unsecured debt. The next thing you want to do is to start creating alternative income streams. Guys, if this thing has taught us one thing, this whole lockdown has taught us one thing, we cannot think that our income from our job is going to give us financial security. Your company is not your financial security. Your salary, your pension fund, that is not your financial security. So if you've learned one thing out of this, that is what you need to learn. You need to develop multiple sources of income. Become an entrepreneur. The problem with most people starting a business or becoming an entrepreneur is they think that they should immediately start earning 10, 20, 30,000 Rand a month from becoming an entrepreneur. That is not the idea. Even if you can create 1,000 Rand a month or 2,000 Rand a month extra, you already start developing those skills to build extra income. But you need to create multiple sources of income, specifically focused on passive income. Income where what you do and what you earn is not linked to one another. And that comes back to that transformational business. So what you need to do is you need to try and remove what you do and what you earn slowly from one another so that what you do and what you earn is not interlinked. So start talking to us. Talk to your coach. If you don't have a coach, get a coach. Talk to us about how can you start doing this. You might have an idea. You might have something that you've been thinking about. You can talk to us and we can help you get that idea off the ground. Before I finish, one of the things that we need to do once this lockdown ends, and this is so important, is you need to take responsibility for your financial future. From now on, you need to be responsible. It is not your company's responsibility to make sure that you are financially okay. It is not your financial advisor or your broker's responsibility to make sure that you're going to retire one day. It is not the insurance company or the pension fund, their responsibility to make sure that you're going to be fine when you retire one day. It is absolutely your responsibility. And why is it so important? Well, firstly, why don't people want to take responsibility? And the main reason people don't want to take responsibility is because they equate responsibility with blame. If they're in trouble, if they're financially in a difficult situation, they think if I take responsibility, I am to blame. But I'm not to blame because I couldn't predict the lockdown. It happened to me. But responsibility and blame is not the same thing. Blame looks backwards. Responsibility looks forwards. Blame looks at what brought us here. Responsibility says, where are we going from here? Because responsibility is built in two words: responsibility. If you don't take responsibility, you don't have the ability to respond to your current situation. So you need to take ultimate responsibility for your financial situation. Your job, your company is not the security. You are the security. So you need to go and make sure that you have your plans ready. You are ready and you have strategies to get you to your goals, whatever those goals are, because those are your goals. And there's no right or wrong goals. The goals shouldn't be, I want to be a millionaire, a billionaire, have a helicopter. It's your goals. Your goals might just be to have time freedom, to have a comfortable life. That's fine, but know what it is that you want. And after this lockdown ends, I think all of us need to focus on how do we achieve our goals and have a strategy. Thanks for listening to me, and I'm going to take some questions. I see Zander's going. He wants to ask me a question before I go. So if we have a question or a comment, you are welcome to post it now.
Okay, the first question, Frikkie van Rooyen is asking, how do you get a coach?
Okay, thanks, Frikkie. So how the coaching works is we've got a wealth strategist that works with you. The easiest way is either to talk to the person who invited you, sent you the link. If they don't know exactly where coach or how to get involved with a coach, please email us at info@retirehappy.co.za or info@iretirehappy.co.za. You can use either one and just say you would like somebody to come and talk to you about the financial coaching. In this coaching, we will teach you exactly the steps you need to follow, the 5-step process that we've developed over the last 18 years to help you achieve whatever the goal is that you want to achieve. And it's called Retire Rich and Happy. Whatever rich means to you, we will teach you and take you by the hand. Yes.
Michael is asking, do you know the legal implications of not meeting payments for people in debt review?
Michael, I have had that question. Yeah, it's a difficult one. I don't have a direct answer for you. The best thing to do is to talk to your debt counselor. Be open and honest. I am 100% sure that they can and will make an arrangement if you talk to them. The worst thing you can do is just stop making payments and not communicate. I always say to people, and this is where a lot of people have trouble when they get into financial difficulty. They will pay the people that nag them. And the people that are quiet, they don't pay. And those are the people that bite you in the backside. It's those that company that doesn't phone you, doesn't ask you about the money, doesn't try and force you to pay. It's them that quietly go and blacklist you. So the main thing is communicate. Talk to these people. Tell them honestly what the situation is. And I'm sure they will make an arrangement for you. Any other questions?
Michael Sennett, thanks. I have sent comms to the people managing my debt review for feedback.
Okay. Now, please let me know what was the results. What did they say? And if you found, and if you need any help, you're welcome to email us. We can try and help you to put a motivation together for that. Okay, guys, anybody else? Guys, thanks very much for joining us for our first webinar. If you've benefited from it, please let us know. Go to our Facebook page. You're welcome to like our Facebook page. These videos will be on there as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Retire Rich and Happy. You can go and see there all the interviews I've done on Mix FM. There's videos that I've done that teaches you about financial intelligence. You can also contact us if you need somebody to come and help you, or if you need to talk to somebody to help you with the financial coaching. You are welcome to contact us. And if you just want the tools, you are welcome to go to our website, Retire Rich and Happy, all written out, .co.za. On there, you'll have a shop, and under the shop, you'll have the different tools. The strategic expense planning, I think it's something like 199 Rand, or you can buy all the tools for 499, and that will really help you take control of your cash flow. Guys, thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you've benefited, and I look forward to chatting to you guys again. Thanks.